Alright, hey guys, it's me again. I am coming to you live from my palatial apartment. That's right, because I am sick today, and I didn't even go into school. My throat is pretty well raw, but I'm going to try and plow through it because I want to make sure that I give you guys the code that you need in order to work on your project. So the things that we talked about in class a little while ago, we started talking about taking our HTML code a little bit deeper, and I talked to you guys about different types of lists. So for example, if you want to make an unordered list, which is a nice way of basically saying a bullet pointed list, you would type the code UL, just like that, signifying that it is in fact an unordered list, and then you would need to add in each list item by typing in li. So for example, I could say if my first bullet I wanted to say, I don't know what, let's see, maybe I would like to do something like this. Say, these are a few of my fave foods. So that text is just appearing there, then bullet point, non-ordered in any way, unordered. So some of my favorite foods, of course, would be, let's see, pizza. And then you have to close that off. Some other favorite foods. I love potatoes. Potato. Yes? I don't know. So, you gotta close all that off, and when you're all done, of course, you gotta close off your unordered list, like so. Now, of course, you can go ahead and plug this into your regular old HTML document. And whenever you go ahead and save this off, you are back in business. So I'm going to save this as an index. Now what that basically means is this. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to save it to my HTML. I'm going to name it index.html. And then I'll go ahead and save that. The reason I'm saving it as index.html, the internet has decided that at some point or another, whenever you go to jump into a website, there are a lot of different web pages that make up a website. But if you name one of your files, the main home page, if you name it index, the internet will know automatically go directly to that page. So if for some reason you get lost along the way, just remember your home page should always be titled index.html. Okay? Alright. So there's that for you. So whenever I go ahead and save that, and I go ahead and load my index.html, I get something pretty good. There you go. So my code here, as you can already tell, again, I've just got regular text here. And then whenever I have my list, you can tell that it also kind of tabs it in just a little bit, as well as giving it that unordered list of the bullet points. If I wanted it to be an ordered list, i.e. have numbers to it, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth, all I have to do is take the exact same code, only change it from an unordered list, UL, over into an ordered list, which is OL. I know, where do they come up with these names? So you got OL, and then again, your list items are the same, LI, and so on and so forth. Whenever I save that, I'll have the exact same, only now, whenever I refresh, you can see I get the nice little numbers there. So now you know that pizza is my favorite above potatoes, although of course that's false. Potatoes are amazing in every way. So now that we've got that rockin' and rollin', we've got our list items down pat, everything looks pretty good. Now, you can also do a nested list if you wanted to, very easily. The idea basically being if I take this, I'm just going to literally copy and paste it. Only this time I'm going to paste it inside of another list. So I got like listception going on. Paste it, save it, and what I get is a list within a list. Now, it doesn't look too pretty, but again, you can go through and clean this up, and it's a really good way if you wanted to have maybe notes that you've taken in a class and you want to post them online to a website, and you want them to be ordered like you would if you were taking them in class, you know, kind of have your tabs and all that. It's a good way of handling that information as well. In general, you're probably not going to use lists a whole lot, but it's very good to know how to handle them for future reference. Some other random things that I want to teach you along the way. So we've already talked before about how to make an anchor point or a hyperlink, right? So you do A for anchor, and then href as your actual link, and then of course you have the link itself, and then you close off that link. So I can put whatever the heck I wanted to in here. For the sake of example, I'm just going to do, let's see here, just go to Google. So at this point, if I save this, I should have a link that says hello, and it takes me to Google. There's my hello, and of course, if I click on it, it will take me to Google. Oh, there it is. So I'm going to go right back. Now, some things. I don't know about you, but when it comes to making a website, I think about it in an artistic sense, right? I want to think about it in the idea of what makes a good artist, which is, of course, composition, layout, all the things that we talked about way back in Art 1. So I want to be able to utilize that good composition skills in my website design. To do that, I don't know about you, but I hate whenever I have a link, and that link is this weird, stinking purplish blue color, and it's highlighted, and it looks ugly, and it's nasty. So if I go up to the body code over there, and I add in any of these here, so I can do link, a link, and v-link. These codes are going to allow me to go through and actually change the color of my link. So the link itself obviously is going to be changed by the code link. I can change that to whatever color I want, so I'll say green. The a link is going to be kind of like whenever I do a little mouse over there, so I'll type that and I'll make that black. And then the V-link is after you click something, you hit the back button, you go back and forth, it'll tell you that you've already been there. So again, I'll make this red. Why not? So I save that off, and when I refresh, there we go, you can see it's green. And if I click on it, you saw whenever I kind of click down, it goes to black. So I can click on it. See how it does that? Right? So there's that for you. Some fun little additives to make your website layout a little bit nicer. Normally in HTML class, I also talk about things called image maps. I won't lie to you. I'm not going to bother teaching image maps. It's not that they're not cool. Basically what you do is you put a whole lot of code over top of an image, and then I'm able to make certain parts of that picture little hyperlinks. It's pretty neat. If you're interested, I would definitely suggest checking it out. But I'm not going to teach it to you only because, really, to be fair, it's heavy coding for really not a lot of outcome, and people don't really use them anymore. Nowadays we have CSS and Java and JavaScript and other things that'll kind of do the job for us. So they've kind of gone by the wayside a little bit. So I'm not going to bother teaching them. But again, if you're interested in something that might help you along the way, if you have a certain website where you're like, oh man, I really want to change this picture and have a link inside of the picture, image maps are going to be for you. Maybe I'll do a little bonus video later on. So, last couple things. If you have a link, in this case I have one ready to go here, my href, all good. Let's say instead of directly going to Google, instead I wanted to make a link that goes to an email, right? Of course, that happens all the time, contact page, email me, that kind of thing. All you need to do is type in mail to inside of your href, do the little ... the little colon, and then type in the email that you are sending off to. So of course I'll type in my personal email, poop@poop.com. I can't even type. Alright, there we go. So at this point, that will cause the link, hello, to become a email link that will open up poop@poop.com. Now, the one thing I will tell you ahead of time, this mail to thing is pretty cool, but because if you're on a PC, it'll automatically open in Outlook. Outlook's a horrible system. It's just not good. But don't get distressed about that, because if you're looking at it, say, on like a phone or something, it'll automatically open it up directly into your email client. So it's still a pretty good code to know. And like I said, very, very simple. Just mail to, colon, and then you're in business. A couple other random codes that might help you out along the way. Some things that kind of change the way the font or the text works. So let's say I had some information here. Cool. And maybe I wanted the word this to be a subscript, so have it kind of go down underneath, right? So I just type in the word sub, and then of course, oops, sub, S-U-B, and then I do close sub. That'll give me a little subscript right there. If I want it to be a superscript, say the word website, I want it to go above the text, then in that case I do soup, and of course close it off, soup, save it, check it out, there you go. So I've got, hello, this is a website about me. I don't know why I said it that way, that's ridiculous. Other things, you can also do a thing called a block quote. Block quote, really the code is extremely hard to remember, so try to drill it into your brain. The code is block quote. I know, craziness. And all you have to do for that is literally type in your information here, and then you have yourself a block quote. Now, what does that basically do? Well, let's say you're writing a paper and you want a quote. It'll kind of tab it in for you so that it's kind of nice and pretty. Of course, you could always tie this in. Maybe your English teacher taught you that every quote should have italicized, and you know how to do italicized already. You just simply add in the letter I. Now, all of a sudden, I've got a block quote that is also italic. So now we're really working with some good layout principles and how we can work within our idea already. Now, the last thing I want to mention to you, which is probably the most important of the entire day's lecture, which is this. So, there's one big thing that we're missing from our entire idea of how to make a website. We know how to lay it out, we know how to construct a page using tables and all this stuff, and it's really been driven into your brain and you're going crazy, but we don't know how to link between pages. I can link to Google, I can link to any website that I want to, but how do I interconnect all these web pages? Well, it is super, super simple. I'm going to show you. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to save this, so I've got my index ready to go. I'm going to say, let's say, we'll do an anchor point, of course, href, that's how I make a link. And I'll say this is a link to page 2. Good enough. Now, preemptively, I'm going to type in page2.html. Well, what the hell is page2.html? I don't know what that is. Don't worry, we're going to make it. We haven't made it yet, so we're preparing, right? So I'm going to save this. Then I'm going to go through and do something a little tricksy. Instead of retyping all of this code, which is going to take me an extra 20 minutes, instead I'm just going to do File, Save As, make sure that it's in the same folder as your index file, and this one I'm going to call page2.html. Just like that. Do you want to replace it? Yeah, that's fine. Alright, so I've got my page 2, right? But it's the exact same thing as page 1, so I'm going to change it up a little bit. Maybe I change the background color. You guys remember how to do that? Background color, BG color, and we'll have it be red, really vibrant. So I'll save that. And then, of course, this is not a link back to page 2. I can't link to the same page, so I'm going to do this is a link to the home page. Why not? And then, of course, I have to change the link itself. And what was the name of that home page? It was index.html. Okay, save it. Now let's check it out. So this is index.html. I'm going to refresh. Here it is. There's link to page 2. And, of course, I know that that's going to take me to page 2. How do I know that? Well, I wrote the code, so that helps. But if you look down at the bottom of the page, way down around here, when I put my mouse over the link, you'll see it'll say where the link takes us to. User.user, desktop, HTML, page2.html. So it's telling the computer to go and find the web page that I just made. And when I click on it, it's going to load that page, right? So then I can click on this link, and it'll take me back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth all day long till the sun comes out, okay? Now, why the heck do I want to do that? Well, every web page is made up of every website, is made up of a bunch of web pages, right? Think of how insane Wikipedia would be if it was one gigantic web page. It would go on for eternity, but because it's a website containing a bunch of web pages, which is what we're making, now I'm able to make a website interconnecting all these different pages, right? Pretty cool stuff. This is obviously pretty basic, but you are going to take your skills of designing and laying out the web page and start to make your own websites, okay? Alright, well, I'm going to go get some sleep because I am sick as a dog, and hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow, but hopefully this video helps you remember everything we talked about in class. See ya!